What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Sophisticated Man podcast. This one is in person, a little bit different. First time we're doing this. Obviously, you recognize my guest here. She's been on the channel before. Brandi, what's up?
Nothing. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. Definitely. So we're trying something new. This one was more of a Q&A style podcast. So you guys submitted some questions. We're going to answer them. And the topic of discussion is more or less just dating, like dating culture, masculine, feminine dynamics, relationships in general. So we're here to answer any questions you guys have and just go back and forth and see what we come up with.
Yeah, sounds good.
So she has some questions, I have some questions as well. Did you want to start
I
off?
can kick it off. I did get some questions from some folks. So I like this one. I think we can start off with dating culture. This person says, no energy for dating apps. How do you even approach women these days?
I feel like that's one of those things that I get a lot of questions I get around, like how do you approach a girl, where do you find women, etc., etc. And I've always said that at dating apps, like, they're not the best place to meet people. In general. It's kind of like a bar. You go there, it's like a meat market. Like, you see different characters, different personalities, different values.
Yep.
So I wouldn't advise dating apps. I mean, that being said, I've been on apps, so like I know what it's like. But to answer the question, where do you find women? Or I guess they ask how to approach women.
How to approach women, yeah.
How to approach women. Just basic social skills, really. Like, don't overthink it. I mean, if you literally are walking on the street and you see a girl that you find attractive or you're curious about, it's like, hey, I wanted to meet you real quick. Like, what's your name? Boom, there you go. That's the line. And it's not like fancy or, crazy ridiculous. You just have to be curious and show confidence. That's really my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think to your point too, just being normal and casual, and it just being as simple as an intro, like, hey, what's up? I just wanted to introduce myself, not immediately going into, do you want to go out? Starting basic, learning their name, ask a few questions about themselves. Pretty simple. I think from my point of view too, with the dating apps, like I see both sides of it, right? I see I understand it's hard to meet people nowadays. There might be people who have social anxiety or are afraid to go out and put themselves out there in person, and we live in a world where these things we live on them. So I know there's people who've met their now fiancés, husband, wives online, but I think it's challenging though, because again, there's so many options. You're constantly swiping. You can only go from what you see on a picture or what they answer on their questions. There's no natural chemistry or connection. You kind of have to figure that out, and I don't know, sometimes that's a lot of time invested in your day trying to find somebody, text them, see if the text works out, then call if they don't, if you vibe on the phone, and then you do the in-person. It's a lot of work. I think it's more natural and an easier way to just meet people in person. And I know for girls it can be intimidating going up to a man that you think is attractive, but it's simple. It's the same thing. It's simple. Just getting out of your comfort zone, saying, hey, I'm at the gym. I like to do the same things you do. This is my name. Would love to introduce myself. So I could agree. I see both sides though, It's kind of difficult, but I definitely would lean towards the in-person, because you already know what they look like. You already know what they like to do. You could vibe in person. It feels easier.
So generally, do you feel like what's the wrong way for a man to approach a girl in person? Because I mean, some people do it, but doesn't mean everybody does it well.
Yeah.
So what's your indicator of this guy just bombed?
Good question. I think if it's immediately going and complimenting or you're sexy or coming off very sexual, saying something along the lines of, oh damn girl, you're so pretty, or and I understand compliments are nice, but I think it's immediately I'm just oh, you just care about my appearance. I'm immediately uninterested about that. I would say do an intro, say what's up, give your name, and say I just wanted to introduce myself. I think it's simple that way versus going immediately for the dang girl, I thought you were so cute, you want to go out? I would be no.
I generally agree. I think it depends on the environment too. Like if you're
Yep.
at a social event, like most people go to bars.
Right.
So
right.
your first instinct is, wow, she's fucking hot. Like I want to talk to her.
Yeah. I
Which
get it.
you could probably be more forward in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, like if you're, I don't know, let's say you're at the gym, for example.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You don't want to go right up to a girl and say, hey, I love the way you're deadlifting right there. You want to like grab a drink?
Right.
That's not going to fly. So
immediately no.
no, it's just a hard no.
Yeah, or mid-set, you just tap them and
Yeah.
interrupt their workout.
I've seen that. I've seen
Me
that
too.
a lot.
I've definitely witnessed it myself, actually. So
Yeah, there's proper gym etiquette to things like that, and there's just social etiquette too.
right.
Like you don't want to be just
Yeah.
ignorant.
Come off creepy or
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So to wrap that point up, basically, just be direct.
Yeah.
But also don't over sexualize it in the very beginning. Like
Yep.
there's time for that to build, and
I agree.
trust me, women generally go into that slower than guys do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just gonna want to ask like, hey, you seem cool. I wanted to meet you. What's your name?
Yeah.
Get their contact information, and then meet up later on. And if it doesn't work out, you didn't really waste much time.
Right.
You just maybe wasted 5 minutes, maybe less.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe from your side, for us, like if there's women who want to be, the person to approach a man first, like how would you say we should go about approaching?
How to do it?
Yeah. Because I think it's challenging, right? Because you guys are
Yeah.
typically the hunters, but
Right.
why can't, we do it too? How would we be?
My thing on that is I'm for women approaching guys. I just feel like it doesn't happen as often. So
I could agree.
It's kind of like one of those things that, it sounds good. Girls like maybe say that behind closed doors, but not many are doing it.
Mm-mm.
So how would that happen? I mean, I'd be totally cool if a girl walked up to me and was like, hey, like I thought you were really cute and wanted to meet you. What's up? Like
Yeah.
I'd go for it.
Okay.
It would depend on who she was, obviously, and
Right.
if I was interested at all too,
And the social setting that you're in.
and the setting
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But
Okay.
if she was confident enough to just say something, most of the time, what women generally do is they'll be like more subtle. Guys are more like overt. Women are more covert.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll maybe nudge up against you by accident, or stand close in your proximity,
Yep.
hoping that you see her, or
Oh, yeah.
she might even say something random, like, hey, do you have a
Yeah.
brush or something?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which is just ways to get your attention. So
Yep. I
guys,
can confirm.
guys miss that too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I wonder why we try and do that, because I definitely do things like that, especially at the gym, or I'll ask someone like, are you using that equipment? When really
Exactly.
I know you're done, but
Yep.
yeah, we definitely leave little hints and do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's one big game. That's what it is. No, I'm
It
just kidding.
is. Most of the time, it feels that way. at
Nowadays
least.
it is.
Yeah.
Modern culture sure is.
It does. Everyone has to want to play hard to get, or they want to be the one winning the game, so they know they're in control.
Yep. I know what that feels like.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's literally a whole other video.
Yeah. So another question, I guess we can
Cool.
gear away from that. So I think this could be for both of us. Advice for moving on from someone isn't for you, but you're emotionally attached.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because if there's attachment involved in that, obviously it's going to be harder than someone you just met for the first time or just got to know. So anytime that happens, I mean, it's going to suck, but you kind of have to just let yourself feel what you're feeling. I know, especially speaking to guys, we like to bottle that up and be like, oh, fuck that bitch, whatever. Meanwhile, you really miss her and you actually care.
Yeah.
But you want to tell your friends, like, oh, I don't care. You do, though. And you keep bringing it up for a reason.
Yeah.
So that's something I would say for men, at least, just acknowledge the fact that maybe it was a good relationship, maybe it wasn't the right time, maybe it wasn't the right person, whatever the case may be. And just learn to just move on from that slowly. It's going to take some time. Guys generally drag it out longer because we just deny what we're actually feeling.
Yeah.
But you just have to feel it, as weird and woo-woo as that sounds. It's just the truth.
No, I could agree.
And you just have to kind of learn from the experience.
Yeah. I could agree with that. I think it's similar on our end too, because I know females, we get emotionally attached pretty easily if there's a connection. And I used to struggle with this myself, and I'm just someone that would bottle it up. And I just put it off and I keep talking about it. But I think it's as simple as like allowing yourself to feel, because that's the only way you're going to heal from it. Like, be sad, cry about it, talk about it. Like, you should have friends around you that are supportive and, you know, not feel annoyed by that, because we all catch feelings, we all go through hurt, so it's normal. And I think to distract yourself, whether that's with your friends or that's work, you spend more time working. Like, I know for myself, I just try and work a little bit more, or I find things to distract me so I'm not thinking about it as much. I think that's always a good way to help move on from somebody.
Sure. I do agree with that to a point. I think sometimes people use the distraction as like a cope, and they're like, well, I'm not thinking about them, and I'm not worried about them because I'm busy.
Right.
Which
that could prolong the process
healing.
too. Yeah, that's true.
That does happen where you are really busy, or you make yourself busy because you want to forget it. But then in the back of your mind, you're still thinking of that person or the situation or whatever. So I think best case scenario, like, just give yourself that time. And this is men and women. Yeah. Give yourself that time to just sit with what actually happened, learn from it, and just actually analyze, okay, what do I actually feel about the situation? What am I actually like holding on to that maybe is still there? Because there's usually something that is. And once you get past that, then you can start to occupy yourself with things like friends, like not partying, but working, whatever, you know, things like that.
Agreed. Good point. I think you had some questions.
I did, yeah. That's all ones you had?
Yep, those were the only ones.
Hey, sometimes people are afraid.
Yep,
so we'll see.
It's all right. Maybe the next time you guys will open up a little more.
I got a couple questions here.
Okay.
Let me start with one of the guys in my group here. So he asked a pretty good one. This one's funny. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. How true is that statement? So I'll let you go first.
That's an interesting.
About that one.
So, can you repeat it? It's not how you.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. He's asking basically, is that true from a woman's point of view?
I think it goes both ways. I think I could agree with that. I don't know. I think being upfront and saying things are important, and I think there is a way you need to learn how to say things, because I think people are too blunt that you could actually hurt someone's feelings. But sometimes you need to be blunt and say it, because you need transparency, because whether that's you're gonna gain a learning lesson from it, a perspective, like, people need to know. I don't think you should beat around the bush all of the times, but again, it's maybe how you come off, how you say it, if it's like through a text or, you know, a phone call in person, depending on the situation, obviously. But yeah, I could agree with that. What are your thoughts?
I think generally it depends on who you're talking to. Kind of what you were saying too, depending on the person. Yeah. Generally, I would say men typically respond better to more bluntness than women do. Like, if I tell a guy, because he's 200 pounds, hey, get to the fucking gym, you're fat. He's gonna be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm a loser. But if I tell a girl that, I'm gonna hurt her feelings. Yeah. Because she's maybe overweight, she's sensitive to that. Yeah. So I'd say generally, guys respond more positively to more direct, blunt talking. And I usually say it like this: content generally matters more to men, and context matters more to women. Yeah. That's at least the way that my brain breaks it down.
That's fair. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I think us females are definitely sensitive. So yeah, you gotta kind of watch your words with us, because we're emotional creatures. We can't. It's just us. We can't help it. So I know bluntness. Sometimes I can take bluntness. I played sports my whole life, so I know what it's like to be coached. But some people can't take bluntness, so it might actually really hurt them, and could even cause trauma if it's something extravagant. But yeah, that's a really good perspective.
Yeah. It even depends on, it could be some guys too. I've had clients where they're a little bit more softer, like they weren't as they weren't as receptive to challenge.
Yeah.
So I had to frame it in a way that I wasn't like yelling at the dude, but I was still bringing out the best of him.
Yep.
So even for men, sometimes, not every guy, some guys do respond better to praise than to scolding or just bluntness.
Yeah.
So it does depend on the person, but in general, I think guys are generally more like, hey, just give me the direct facts, figures, that's it. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Women care more about the details, like how are the emotions, the feelings, what's behind that. So that's just usually the way it is.
Gotcha. A question popped up in my head as we were talking about this and going into like dating and relationships and stuff. So I think, how do you think is a good way to approach, like if you're going to end things, or you're maybe not interested in somebody that you've been dating for a little bit, or you've been talking to? I'm curious because I've seen, like, I feel like ghosting is just like the easy way out nowadays.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's never an easy conversation to have. It can be very, very awkward, especially if you're the one doing the breaking up or the ending communication. I've actually had to do this recently, so this is actually some real life experience.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Like, honestly, I've been broken up with, and I've broken up with someone. I will not lie. Breaking up with someone is harder.
Yeah.
At least for me. Because, like, I could take someone telling me, oh, well, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
It might suck in the moment, but having to, like, be the one to end things because something's wrong, and maybe not something's wrong with them, but the situation wasn't working, and you had to be the one to say it. I think for me, it's harder.
Yeah.
So a way to do that is just, I mean, you kind of just have to peel the Band-Aid off, as hard as that is to say. Like, the best thing you could do is just to be direct and be honest, because if you're leading somebody on, and I've done that before by accident, thinking I was being nice, be like, oh, well, let's just talk and like whatever, and she was still really interested and I wasn't. And eventually it just blows up in your face. So the best thing you can do is just be honest. From as soon as you start feeling like, it's not really working out, just have a conversation.
I agree.
Say, hey, look, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm feeling. It might not be the best fit, and that's okay, but just communicate that, because if you don't say it thinking that you're protecting their feelings, you're actually making it worse. Because when they do find out that you don't like them, it's going to hurt 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah. I think keeping that from them, too, at least for girls from my side, if you ghost us or you simply don't tell us maybe what didn't work out, our minds are going to run endlessly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're never going to know. And, like, that kind of hurts our self-confidence a little, because it's like, was it me? Like, what was wrong about me? You know, like, all of these things just flutter in our heads, so... Spiral, yeah. So, I agree. I think, I'm sure it's tough. It's uncomfortable, but it's the best case scenario, though. You're being honest. That person can't, I don't think they can hate you from being honest. Like, unfortunately, sometimes things don't work out, and it's okay. And then, I don't know, I feel like it just saves you in the long run versus people just disappearing. Like, I don't understand why we do that nowadays. It's apparently the easy way out, but in my head it seems way harder, because not like you're ghosting them, then you're like constantly worried, what if I run into them, or what if my friends, and then you're like always worried about like how that person's going to look in their eyes and etc. It's just, I don't know, I guess I don't get it.
Hey, I agree with you. I agree. I think it's become so common nowadays that it's kind of the norm. Which sucks, because it's like, who wants to feel like that?
Right.
But
doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I think people do it just because they don't want to take on the responsibility, or they're maybe uncomfortable with confrontation. I think that's a big one. Because I know I was growing up, like I didn't want to be.
I definitely was too.
Challenging or like rock the boat. But you have to. Sometimes.
I agree.
So that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay. I like that. Good answer.
But yeah, I hope that answered the dude's question. I know we kind of went off on a tangent, but that's what happens in podcasts like this.
They flow, they just go, and you go down a rabbit hole sometimes. So
sometimes you never get out. All right, let's see what else somebody said. This is a pretty good one here.
Okay.
Where do women draw the line between an experienced man and a man whore?
Oh boy.
It's a pretty good one.
That's a good one. I think, like, define experienced man, right? Because if that means that maybe that person was in a long-term relationship with somebody 6-7 years, and they obviously were doing it a lot with their partner and they learned a lot, like, I think that's one thing, versus a man who has over 100 bodies. I swear, if I hear a man who has over 100 bodies, immediately no. Gross. That's gross to me. Like, I don't know. I think guys sometimes brag about it because it's a different, like, point of view for, like, women doing it versus men doing it. It's like, it's awesome. But no, I don't think that it's awesome. And I'm definitely going for the experienced man. And it's something different too. Like, if you find somebody that you connect with and you have a connection and you're going to explore that, you can, like, be vocal and communicate on what you like in bed and what you like sexually. Like, it can get better over time with one person. I don't think it needs to be with, like, 100 different people. That's just my 2 cents on that. Yeah. What do you think?
I agree. I definitely agree. I think that it's funny that because guys generally brag to other guys about it. They don't really brag to women, and if they do, that's even weirder, because, like, a girl's not gonna look at that and be like, wow, that's hot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe
let's go home.
If she found out, here's the thing though, if she found out just happenstance and she knew about it, that actually might be positive. But if you're, like, telling her, hey, you know, look at my list of girls that I banged, that's gonna come off as weird and creepy and try hard.
I agree. I think it comes up in, like, because this city's such a small town, I feel like, and, like, everybody knows everybody,
absolutely.
So people talk and you hear things through word of mouth.
Yep.
I don't think a guy would ever be like, oh yeah, girl, I slept with, like, 125. I'd be like, oh, nice, bye.
Yeah, that's the thing about a small town is, like, you're gonna know people's business.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
You will.
But to answer the question, like, what's the difference? I do like your point about the experience, because I made the same point about a woman too. Like, if a girl's been in a relationship for, like, 6 years, whatever, long-term relationship, that's actually a good sign.
Yeah.
Because that tells me, all right, she knows how to handle commitment. She understands loyalty. She understands, like, what that even means. So that's something I would look for. But for a woman, in terms of a guy being experienced, you can have it. This is the thing that guys don't talk about with this content space. It's like, you can have experience with women without fucking all of them.
Yeah.
Crazy thought, but that's literally how,
crazy thought.
You literally can. And I'm not saying to be, like, a weird, like, friend zone guy or anything. You can go on dates. You can take women out. You can make out with them if you want. Great. But you don't have to bang them all. Like, it's not like, I think people have this mentality that if you have sex with somebody, then that means you somehow, like, know them, and well, you do know them better, but I think that's, like, the only pathway people think, like, that's how I get to know somebody.
Yeah.
But
and that's actually not it. That's, like, the complete opposite. Because then if you have a physical connection, you're never going to develop any emotional connection, and then, like, what are you talking about? You're just having sex, and that's not a relationship. That's friends with benefits.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which never tend to work.
Never works out. Do not recommend.
No. So yeah, I think generally women like more experienced guys, but experience is very specific to the person.
Yeah.
Some girls maybe want a guy who's banged 100 girls, but then what does that say about the girl?
Right.
She probably banged 100 guys.
Yeah.
So
match made in heaven.
Yeah, like two peas in a pod. So
yeah.
It does depend, and I'd say err on the side of being experienced, as in talk to different women, go hang out with them, like, take them on dates. Doesn't mean you have to stick your dick in every single one of them.
I agree. Preach.
So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
But here's a follow-up question to that too.
Okay.
Because I think that there is, like, an extreme, because everybody argues this stuff in extremisms.
Yeah.
So what would be more, like, initially attractive to you? A guy who's, like, a virgin, flat out did not know anything, or the dude who maybe, you know, he had his way with, like, as many women as he wanted, like 100 girls. Man. Which one is more appealing?
God, That's tough. I'm not going to lie. I like, you would want someone to say an experienced person, but if it's that, between that, I'm picking the virgin because you're not dirty. Like, and I can teach you what you need to know, I don't know, in bed. It's obviously going to be terrible at first, but like the more you get to know someone, I don't practice makes perfect.
Oh my God. So that would be cool. Like you'd be okay like showing him the ropes and everything.
Yeah, I would. Yes, because then he will know what I like.
That's fair. Hey, if you guys are virgins, hit up Brandi because she apparently is the whisperer or something.
No, but if I had to choose between someone who has slept with 100+ people and the virgin, I'm choosing the virgin.
Fair.
Yeah.
Enough.
I can't, in my mind, I just can't get over like a penis being in so many vaginas, like
the shame.
Yeah,
the
like,
shame of it.
Because I'm thinking about my health too. Like, do you have an STD?
Absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
how many did you get any of them pregnant? Like, I'm scared. So
that's a fair point.
yeah, I don't know. I'd just rather not risk it.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah.
Because I actually learned this last year. I did not know this because I mean apparently they don't teach you this in health class.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, vaginas. I hope I don't get censored on YouTube here. But vaginas have pH levels.
Yep.
Did not know that until I had a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then she told me, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So basically that means if you are cheating or messing around or have had a lot of like other women that you've been with, you could actually get your girl sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they usually know when you're cheating because
Yeah.
they can literally, it messes up their hormone levels.
Yes, we know.
That's pretty wild.
It's pretty crazy, like,
Yeah.
to think about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually a thing.
I did not know that was a thing until
Mm-hmm.
last year.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, and not only that, but you think about it, right? You have sex with somebody, then like if they've had sex with 100 people, like it's a I don't even know how to explain it, but those people have had sex with other people who have had sex with other people you just like it's because you can get it from them, they can pass it along, like it's gross, but it can happen so easily, and I don't think people think like that. Oh, he slept with 100 girls. Okay, those 100 girls, what if they slept with 100 dudes? Like you're getting all of these disgusting like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's like a $1 bill.
Yeah.
Like you're passing it around.
Passing
that
it
goes
around.
to someone else,
Yeah.
and like you have no idea where it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
thank
point.
you.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of people turn into like chastity after this, this podcast. All go into like celibacy.
Yeah. They're like, oh, no sex anymore.
So don't be scared, guys. This is not to like scare you, but
yeah, and obviously it's hard to tell too. Like you said, like a man's not just going to be like, yeah, I've slept with 120. Like we might not know.
Yeah.
We might just figure it out if we're like talking to somebody and getting to know them. And again, our pH gets effed up. We're like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
It's so wild how that actually happens. Like that. When I was told that, I was like, no way. Like a pool, like a pH, like a pool.
Yes.
And it's like that's legit.
They have it right there in that water, and then we drink water that has like heightened pH in it to help balance it back out.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's literally crazy. Guys don't have that issue, but that's interesting to know.
Yep.
Shit. Well, hey guys, you're learning something new every day. This is your science lesson.
I'm giving all of you guys the tricks out there, so
Yeah.
maybe it'll scare you guys not to cheat.
Maybe it will, or maybe it'll make it worse.
Could.
We don't know.
Yeah, we never know.
We'll have to see in 5 years.
Yeah.
What this produced.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another one here.
Okay.
What do we got? Okay, I think we kind of addressed this in the last podcast. Yeah, what's more important to a woman is a guy who's ambitious or established already?
That's a good question, because I personally, I guess I can't speak for every woman out there, but it depends, I think, where I'm at in my life. Like if I'm established, if I'm doing really well, like I would want my man to be above me because I want him to motivate me, push me consistently to be better too. Like I think I want a man that's above me. So if I'm here, I need to find somebody, and that could be someone who is established, but that also could be somebody who is ambitious and is working towards something even greater. I think those are challenging because there are women around that will stay and be with a man who is ambitious and might not be established yet, but will support him along his journey if he has a plan.
Right.
And he knows where he's going with it. But also a man that's established, I feel like, is good because then they have a lot more time to put into the relationship and they're not constantly working and grinding. So I don't know, I think it goes both ways, to be honest. And depending on, again, the level of maybe where I'm at or somebody else is at, and if they want that person to be a step up or the same, or they're okay with that person being below them. I think it's just based off of a person and what you like, what you need. But I don't know, what are your thoughts, like from a guy's perspective, like does a man want to be established first, or is he willing to jump into a relationship knowing he's ambitious, knowing he has a plan? Like what's your side of it?
Yeah, that's kind of like a two-parted question too.
Yeah.
For me personally, like what I would recommend and what I tell clients to do generally is to have a foundation first.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean $1 million in the bank,
Right.
Lambos and all that stuff. Like you don't have to have that,
Right.
but have some kind of base. So, because like relationships are gonna come and go in your life, women are gonna come and you're gonna go. Like just that's just the fact of life.
Right.
But your business, your purpose, your self-improvement, like you look at one shot at this.
Yeah.
We get one life. So I think it's better to have a base to stand on. Because let's say you're with a girl and you have nothing.
Right.
And you're dating her, things go well. All of a sudden, shit hits the fan, she leaves, or you guys break up. What's going to happen? You have nothing else to fall back on.
True.
As a guy, you're like, shit, she was everything.
Yeah.
I had nothing else. So that, I think, is dangerous territory to be in. So I would always say at least have a base.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? I mean, like, have some kind of income, you know, have a purpose that you're building towards, have some type of fitness regimen, like go to the gym, work out, eat right, work on your social skills, understand human dynamics, psychology, like just things, basic things like that.
Yeah.
I think you're solid. But in terms of like which is better, I think it's hard to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's a lot of gray area in
There
that.
is.
Like you might have a girl who's, you know, maybe she's like in nursing school and she's still figuring it out, or maybe she's getting into a job,
Yeah.
and a guy who's potentially like starting a business but he's not established. That could probably work because the dude has vision, he has a plan, like you
Right.
said. Now if the girl is like a doctor or something and the guy's just figuring it out, it might be tougher to work.
Yeah.
Because like the girl, like you said, they generally date up.
Right.
She's gonna want a guy who's more
Yeah.
confident or has more ambition or income, resources, whatever.
Yeah.
Generally, so I think it's better to have a base just as an individual. But what do women prefer? I think it's like it's tough to say because
Yeah.
I know the notion out there for men is like, well, women don't go for the people that are competing. They pick the winners at the end of the race. And I'm like, I get what you say when you say that.
I get it, but
I think and there's even excuse me, there's even statistics that prove this, like evolution that
Right.
actually prove this, that even if you're a guy that displays traits of a potential to be a high value man or a
Yes.
high earner, whatever, women will go towards that
Yeah.
because they see that you have those characteristics.
Yep.
Now, the caveat though is you have to deliver.
yeah.
Because if you just have potential, I mean, potential by itself is nothing.
Yeah.
It's just potential. Ambition by itself is nothing.
Right.
It's just ambition.
Yeah.
So if you don't ever produce anything with it, then you're selling her a dream, and you're not gonna last.
Yeah.
So if you do have ambition, you're not quite there yet, communicate your plan to your girl or to the girl you're talking to and say, hey, well, I'm not like where I want to be, but here's what I'm doing. Here's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And then just set the frame that way
Yeah.
and let her know what you're trying to do.
I agree. I think for someone like me, I tend to go for people who go to the gym because it creates like ambition, yes, but it's they have the characteristics of discipline, consistency, hard work,
Yeah.
and like you can take those and put it in any life scenario, and I think you're going to succeed.
Yeah, definitely.
because going to the gym is hard. Like staying healthy, like working out every single day, like that's a hard lifestyle, and I don't think people like realize it is. Like I'm a gym rat, and there are a lot of days I just don't want to go, but because I'm disciplined, I just go. So I think like for that reason too, you were talking about ambition, like it, you have to be consistent with your plan. You have to consistently show up and do stuff that you didn't want to do. And just be disciplined to your game plan. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I think you have to display the traits of someone that is going to be established.
Yeah.
Even if you're not right now.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, the goal should be to be established.
Right.
You don't want to just be like a potential guy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, like it does depend. So there is a lot of like variables in it.
I agree, and it's so hard to tell too, and be it so broad because so many people are different, and so many of us want different things in life, and you know, it's just so it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, this is the right answer. So
yeah, it's all case by case.
Yeah.
Like if you have we're not gonna get into it because we kind of we already said all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends. It depends. Let's see another question here. When should a guy... Okay, I guess this is more towards guys, but you could probably chime in on this too.
Okay.
When should a guy stop being delusional to a girl's obvious signs, in quotation marks?
I'll let you answer that one first.
Yeah. I'm gonna say fucking immediately, dude. Like, literally, there's a saying, if you hesitate, you masturbate. So literally, do not hesitate. And I don't mean that in a sexual way, obviously, but I mean, you will eventually. Don't wait. If she's giving you signs, that's like a golden ticket to say, hey, talk to me. So the obvious signs, like the ones we mentioned earlier, she's maybe like in your vicinity, she's bumping your shoulder, she's talking close to you or loud and she wants you to hear her, like some things like that. Those are obvious signals. And even bigger dead giveaway, she's giving you eye contact and she's smiling. That's basically saying, come talk to me right now.
Yes.
So go for it. I wouldn't say wait at all, because if you wait, then number one, you look unconfident, you look passive, you look like a guy who doesn't really go for what he wants, and in a girl's mind, she's gonna think, well, he just doesn't like me. And she's gonna move on very, very quickly. So I would say like immediately. Yeah. Honestly.
No, you were spot on with that. We do those things for a reason. Like it's not we're just doing it to do it. We have interest in you. I can confirm. Like we do little things like that. Like I said for myself, like asking if they're using the machine or working out close to them. Like eye contact is huge. Like consistently looking at them, like seeing if they're looking back at us. Like I feel like I make pretty obvious signs now. Men don't always pick them up, but I would say immediately. If you see the little signs, she wants you to do that. She wants you to come and talk to her.
100%.
So
it's I think the problem is guys aren't aware of the signs because they don't know what to look for.
Right.
So they're like, oh, well, guys view attraction through the lens of another guy when they're thinking about, well, women find it the same way. No, it's different. Yeah. Men are generally more like direct, assertive, and like go like up, like they up front what the guy thinks. Yeah. Girls are a lot more covert, like I was saying.
Yes.
So if you can frame it from a woman's point of view and start thinking about it that way, then you'll start to see these things a lot sooner. Because body language doesn't lie. I mean, you could say things all you want. You can like try to hide your feelings through your your clothes or whatever, but body language does not lie. And neither does attraction. Yeah. Like that's the one thing that guys don't have to worry about when it comes to like, is a girl gonna like me? She's not gonna like me? Attraction takes care of itself. And one of my mentors said that, and it's so true. Like if there's a spark, or if she like finds you physically attractive or mentally excuse me, mentally attractive, it's gonna fucking happen, and there's gonna be a spark. So yeah, you don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah, I agree with the law of attraction and like energy too. Like you gravitate towards somebody that you're like interested and attracted to. Like that's how I feel. Like I keep relating to the gym because that's my life. I go to work in the gym. But when I was like getting to know somebody, we were talking, like I was like we would like joke about it like through text, like are we on the same workout schedule? Like, we're always gravitating towards each other. We were always in the same area. We were always looking at each other. Like you just know. Yep. It's pretty obvious too for like us females. Like if we are not interested, like we will literally not even look at you. Our heads are down. Like we're going probably out of our way to like not run into you or not be by you. I swear.
That's what I was actually going to say. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because women don't look at guys they don't like.
No.
I think guys get this weird mental thought of like, oh, she looks at me, maybe she likes me, or she doesn't. Dude, if she's looking at you, she likes you.
Yes. Oh yeah. I purposely look at people I'm attracted to. And anybody else, I'm probably not looking at you.
They will straight up ignore you if they don't like you. So if there is a slight chance that she is, there's an opportunity there.
Go say hi.
Yeah, literally, just sack up and do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, someone else will.
Exactly, and then you're shit out of luck.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was a good question.
I like that one.
Yeah, me too.
He has a couple other ones.
Okay.
We sort of touched on these before too, but can always go over them again. What are some red flags women look at when talking to men?
Gosh, there's so many red flags that I look for. When talking specifically.
I don't know if that's what he meant. I think he just meant like in general.
In general, like red flags.
A guy who wants to pursue things.
Yeah.
Things that you look for, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's based off of like social setting, obviously. But red flags, I would say, if we're on a first date, let's say for instance.
Yeah.
The man's consistently talking about himself.
Yes.
Like there's no, like I think it has to go both ways. Like you have to engage in the conversation, like ask questions about the person, right? You took them out because you were interested in them, not to sell yourself. Like you do have to sell yourself, but like based off of if you're getting asked the questions, you know? And it's not just like word vomit when you're out on a date. I definitely think another red flag, and I'm just relating it to like a first date, getting smashed or hammered on like the first date, like red flag.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That's an obvious one.
Yeah, I understand people are nervous. I think like a drink or two is like respectable. But yeah, I would say getting hammered, being on their phone, like not engaged in the conversation, like eye contact. And there's so many things too, like if we're going to an online presence, like if the man follows a bunch of girls, I see that so often, and we look for that.
So freaking much.
We look for that. Like if we follow each other on social media, we've met in person, I'm looking at your following because it tells you who you are in your explore page. If your explore page is like all like girls,
IG models.
Yeah, IG models, butt pictures, bikini pictures, workout stuff, I'm like, okay, red flag.
Yeah.
But I would say those are the big ones I think I would look at if you're trying to date somebody new. What about you? What do you think for?
I mean, I would probably transfer a lot of those over to mine too.
Yeah.
Like a girl who's on her phone constantly, she's not engaged in the conversation.
Yeah. That's
a red flag. Usually those kind of people are very self-centered.
Yep.
So you don't want to really date those people. I would ask her some penetrating questions. Like even on the first date, like you can get a little bit more personal. Like you don't want to go crazy hard.
Right.
Like, hey, what do you think about the presidential election? Like you don't want to get that crazy initially. Like eventually work your way to it. But I'd say first date I ask them about family, because at least for me, like family is like a huge value for me. So if I'm talking to a girl and she's like, yeah, I don't talk to my parents, I don't want any kids, I'm not close to my family at all. All right, that's something that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a healthy family life or relationship, that usually like pours over to her own personal life.
It does, absolutely.
So that's what I would look for too. I'd say another one would probably be I would look at how she interacts with the girls probably do this too, but how she interacts with like waiters, bartenders, random people that she doesn't know.
Yeah. If
she's super catty or like very what's a good word, like materialistic or just like short with them, that's something to look at, because you know that's how she views everyday people.
Yeah.
And
that's a good one. I like that.
She's very like short with them, or just like bitchy or whatever. Like treat you like you're less than dirt. Yeah. That's something to look at. What's another good one? I would also look at her friend group. If you can, I mean, I don't know how much you're going to know about that on the first date, but
Oh, yeah.
if you can ask some questions like, tell me about your friends. What do they like? What
Yeah.
do they like to do? If she's saying, oh, well, they go to clubs every weekend, they do this, they're single, they go crazy. That's something to think about.
Because 90% of the time she's going to be doing that because you are who you're surround
100%.
yourself with. So
Yeah,
like then
exactly.
you immediately know.
Exactly. So if she's hanging around women that are into that stuff,
Yeah.
you can basically guarantee she's doing the same thing.
Yep.
Also, too, if you ask her about her friends and she has nothing but guy friends that do stuff for her, oh, I have a guy friend that like pays for my meals, or I have a guy friend that
Oh,
takes me out to
jeez.
this, takes me to dinner, pays my bills. Yeah, that's like self-explanatory, but that's a red flag.
I can't believe there's girls out there who have guy friends. Actually, I can confirm that
Oh,
is
yeah.
definitely something true.
It's a fact. It's literally a fact.
Oh, it's bad.
I knew a girl, this might have been like 4 or 5 years ago, and we were like somewhat dating, I guess. It was a weird situation, but she would tell me of all the dudes that she was friends with, that if she was sad, hit them up, bring her like a Big Mac, food,
What?
bring her like all these different things, or like just be there for her when she had like a weird situation going on. And like the whole time I'm thinking like, they want to get with you, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, that's how would you say that? It's like, because I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Like I know how
you
guys
know
think. So
Yeah.
but even in her mind, if she doesn't even think that's what's happening, it's still like, well, why are you using these guys? You know they want more.
Right.
And you're still leading them on like that. So it's just something to think about.
I agree. I totally agree with that. They're trying to get in.
Yeah. That's probably the next question. So I'll leave his for a second, but I want to ask that too.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about this. As far as like friendships go between men and women, I know we've talked about this before, but what are your thoughts about that? Do you think men and women can be friends or should be friends?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Beforehand, I would have said like, yes, I think they can. But then, through experience and going through lots of friendships with guys, kind of no. If you're physically attracted to each other, like something ends up happening. Like hookups, like you're gonna hook up. Like
Exactly.
it happens. You can't be friends, and then you lose them because again, the friends with benefits doesn't work out ever. And I think someone had told me like a while ago, like guys just want to be your friend because they want to get close to you, so they can try and get you like as a friend and then make it more from there. So like when I heard that, I was like immediately like, since then I just am like, I don't want to be your friend. I know what you're trying to do. Like, you know what I mean?
That's
so
what happens,
I would say not really. I don't know. Like there's the guy best friend, and that kind of scares me. Like if I'm dating a guy too, and he's like, oh yeah, like my best friend's a girl. I've literally had that happen, and I'm like, you guys are fucking.
Yeah.
Like I know.
Yep.
I'm not stupid. I know what that's like to be the girl best friend. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's definitely challenging. Like you could be like acquaintances and friends if you're doing something like this, podcasting or business or money, like investing, like anything outside of like your normal day-to-day stuff.
Yep.
Like going out to eat and stuff it's kind of weird too.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that there's a situation where, because like the word can is like such a weird word to use. Like, can you be friends? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
Right.
But should you is the better question. Like,
Yeah.
should you be friends with someone who's opposite sex? Now, I don't think there's anything wrong, but it does depends on like what are you really gaining from that relationship.
Exactly.
What's the value?
Yep.
Because most likely, like you said, a guy is friends with a girl, it's because he wants to eventually be with her. And maybe he doesn't want to admit that to himself.
Yeah.
But that is the truth, especially if she's a good-looking girl, and it doesn't even really matter what he looks like. But if she's a good-looking girl, he's gonna want to get with her at some point, or at least thinking about it.
Yeah.
What that would be like. So you have to ask yourself, why are you friends with this person? Is it because you think there's a future in that, or is it, like you said, more of a business related thing where maybe she's doing something and she helps you with something, or you help her with something?
Right, agreed.
There's a mutual benefit. Then it could legitimately work. But if you're just friends with her because you think eventually she's gonna see how nice of a guy I am,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be perfect, we're meant to be, la la land, all that stuff. Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't want to say almost like feel bad, but like if you do get to that point, like we know, and it's like our minds are never going to switch in our head. Like we know pretty immediately if we want to like get intimate or like be in a relationship with somebody. So if like you're just friends and it's, you know, I don't know, I think for me, like friend zoned, you're friend zoned.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's how it happens though.
Yeah, it does. It's gotta love it.
It's one of those things I think is like you don't have to really think about it.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying, like attraction is in the choice. So if you're a guy, well, let me rephrase that. If you're a girl and you're thinking, oh, I don't really know about this guy, it's already a no.
Yeah.
So it's not something you have to think about. It's
No.
like, well, you just don't feel that way about him.
Yeah,
Or
we can't help that.
whatever.
That's like not out of our, like it's out of our control.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Now here's the thing too, she might like eventually start to think differently if there's a big if, she sees you like actually like killing it in life, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you have a lot of female attention outside of her, which is another big one. And, you know, you guys actually have some kind of sexual tension.
Yes.
If that's never there, then forget about it.
Forget about
There's
it.
Strictly platonic.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're better off probably just keeping it that way.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. There's a lot of caveats to that.
I agree. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there who would disagree with us, and I know it's situational.
Oh, sure.
But just from like my experience, it's really hard to just be friends and doing the like, oh, let's hang out, let's just chill, and
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Like I have a lot of guy friends, but it is because like I either work with them, I'm doing business with them, or it's something unrelated to like just hanging out, you know? So.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me, because like when you think about a friend, what do you do with a friend?
Right.
You're hanging out with them, you're like maybe getting drinks, maybe
Yeah,
getting dinner,
food, like
whatever. Like you're meeting your family maybe in some cases.
yeah.
So would you do that with a girl or a guy that you're not dating? That just comes off as strange, because even your family's gonna say, well, is this your girlfriend?
Right.
Is your boyfriend? No, he's my friend.
He's my friend.
Oh, well, why is he at family dinner?
Right.
It's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
So
it's weird.
you do have to think about that. And
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about that. Yeah, so for me, like my experience is I've never really had any girl friends. Like I'll just be honest. I mean, I've had girls that were like I was cool with. We were acquaintances.
Yep.
We've maybe like I don't know hung out in like a casual setting and just like you know we were like in high school or something or in college.
Right.
But I would never like go out of my way to say, hey, you're my friend. Come get dinner with me.
Yeah.
And come hang out with me one-on-one.
Right.
My intention, if I'm doing that, it's because I like you.
Yeah.
And I want to take it somewhere. So, I don't know. Some guys maybe think differently, but I'm going to tell you right now that it's a waste of time. If you're thinking that. If she friend zones you, just move on, bro.
Yeah.
There's other women out there that won't friend zone you.
Yeah. I think like if you're friends with somebody, if you're like really expressing the true meaning of friends, that person should be bringing something to the table, or you should both be like helping each other in some sort of way. I think that goes for both, like whether it's guy friends or girlfriends.
Sure.
Because you only have so much time in life, and again, everybody should be working towards something. So you want that person to be coming with you.
Yeah.
Or else it's kind of just a pointless friendship, and like, what did we do this for, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I was actually just having this conversation. It's funny you bring that up.
Yeah.
I was just having this conversation with a client yesterday, actually. He was talking about, he might be watching this, but he was talking about how his friend group was like getting into some stuff and he had drama and like they were getting into some, like they're drinking and he was asking me like, how do you establish a boundary? And I said, all right, well, let me ask you this question. Who are these friends?
Yeah.
He says, well, it's a couple people I work with, etc., blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, fine. You work with them. How often do you see them? Maybe once a couple weeks. One I see more than the other. One it's like, okay, so it's a mix of different people.
Yeah.
One you're closer with, one you're not as close with,
Yeah.
etc. So I was like, now I'm gonna ask you a tough question. I said, in 5 years, are they still gonna be friends with you?
Right.
And he's like, I'm thinking about it. He's like, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Not all of them. I said, well, that is something that you got to think about too.
Yeah.
Because if they're not in your immediate circle, like I'm talking inner circle, people that like you like bleed with, die with, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That close group, then you shouldn't even worry about having those conversations with them because they're not going to be around that long.
No.
And I think people aren't comfortable enough admitting that, but it's the truth.
It is the truth.
You're not going to be friends with everybody that you grew up with or you've known your entire life. That's just the way it is.
It sucks, trust me. Like, losing friends hurts, but it's just like the evolution of life. Like, some people stay stagnant the rest of their life. Some people continuously elevate and like pass through different like phases and levels of life. Mm-hmm. Some people get married, some have kids. Like, it's the evolution of life. Like, are they going places with you? And unfortunately, sometimes, most of the time, they aren't. Yeah. Because everyone has a different path, and you just have to be synced up kind of with people who are on the same journey or maybe in the same phase of life, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I told him too. I said, you have to ask yourself, do they fit your future self or your past self? Yeah. Because if they just fit your past self, then most likely they're not going to be around that long.
They're not going to be around, yeah.
And that's hard to admit.
It's very hard.
It's not easy to be like, oh, well, I don't really see this person in my life. Yeah. And it's not like you have to be aggressive and just be, oh, I'm cutting you off and we're not going to talk anymore. You just have to understand where you categorize people.
I agree.
Like, are they inner circle friends?
Yep.
Or are they acquaintances you see once a month?
Yep.
Or are they people you just, in passing, maybe you say hello to?
What's up,
every so often. Yeah. So just understand where they fall. Because I don't think enough people have that like category of people.
No, and I think you learn too and you mature as you go and you figure these things out. But like for someone like me, I'm thinking, like, I'm very picky about who I bring into my life because I know what I want, I know what I'm going after, and like I know what time equals money in my head. And if you're not coming along with me through the journey and you're not interested in the same things as me, like I can't find a connection with you, and I'm not going to prioritize you as you being in my life or in my inner circle because I don't have the time, quite frankly. Facts. So it's tough, it's challenging, but I think that it's a necessity. Like, you need to know who to have in your life because some people will bring you backwards. They can reel you into like wrong things. They can not be in your life out of the best benefit for you too. It goes both ways, but just be picky about who you bring into your life and in your inner circle. That's all I will say.
Yeah,
it's important. It's very important.
Yeah, you definitely have to, and that's kind of like a whole other topic that we can get into as well. But like, just keep that in mind because it is. You think about it relationship wise, that's true for your partner too. Yep. If they're someone who's like getting into some stuff that you don't want to be getting into, or their values aren't aligned, their vision isn't aligned, they don't see the same future as you, you're gonna want to look at that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Because that is probably one of the, I don't know like the statistics on this, but that's probably one of the biggest reasons that couples don't last. Yeah. Is because initially you're in the honeymoon phase, things feel
the physical stuff, like you don't talk about deep conversations and like hard conversations. Yeah. People don't like to get uncomfortable. So I believe it.
100%. And then you find out later in the relationship, if it lasts, that, oh, I actually wanted 3 kids, you didn't want any. Or I wanted this, so you didn't want none.
How did we get here? The value conversations, the hard conversations, the deep conversations about like what life is going to look like in the next year to 5 years. People tend to skip it because it's uncomfortable. It's super uncomfortable. It's super emotional, but you got to do it, else you're wasting time if your values don't line up or your goals. Like you were mentioning, the one person was like, "Yeah, I want 3 kids," and the other person's like, "Oh, well, I don't care. I want kids." Like, well, how did we get here? So
I think it's better to have that conversation earlier than later.
I agree.
Because if you're gonna have those kind of hard talks, you want to know up front, who am I dealing with? Yeah. So don't wait like 2 years or a year into it. Oh, by the way, this is something I always want to do. Let's move across to Alaska. And the person's like, no, I actually want to move to Florida.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what the hell is that? How's that going to work?
Right. Yeah.
So you're going to want to know this up front.
Yes.
And yeah, just communicate. Again, I think that's one of the biggest things people miss, but it's so simple.
It is.
Just understand where people are coming from.
Yeah, you got to open up. I know and it's challenging because I'm sure a lot of us have, our walls up and because of trauma and stuff like that, but you're never going to get better or get out of like the trauma or bad like situations you had if you don't just get out of your comfort zone and like do it and talk about it, practice, learn, grow.
What we got here? How to tell if a woman is being nice versus into you. That's a pretty good one.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a hard question. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm trying to sit here thinking about what I would say. Being nice and being. I think what was the other one? Being nice and.
Or she's real. Like, if she's actually into you, or she's just being nice.
I think so. I think you'll know. I think if she's into you, we will flirt.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we'll flirt. We'll physical touch is another thing. Like I think you would notice too if we're like just like we nudge your shoulder, or like we like somehow like I don't know, bring physical touch into it. Like we definitely flirt, and I think you'll know. I think just being nice is just pretty standard. I don't know. I feel like you should feel it too. Like energy wise, but I would say if she's into you, she's definitely going to flirt. She's definitely going to like be a little physical with you, and she'll show interest. I feel like you'll know. I think it's hard for women to like fake being into somebody. We're pretty, I would say blunt, but
sometimes they can. Sometimes they can fake it.
They could. You're right. I'm not sure what they're trying to get out of that, but
who knows?
You never know. People surprise me day in and day out.
So sometimes there is girls too that are overly flirty with everybody.
Ooh,
and then that's another kind of perspective of it, because if she's overly flirty, how do you really know if she's into you or she's just treating you like every other guy?
Into everybody.
Yeah, just into everybody.
I think that for girls who do that, it's attention seeking.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They might have some insecurities they're going through. But that sucks though, because you can't tell.
Yeah.
At that point, you don't know if she's doing it with everybody either. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe just ask. Are you into me, or you just like talk? Is this how you actually interact with everybody? I don't know. I really wouldn't know.
I might not phrase it that way, but like, yeah, you want to definitely test her. And and again, the easiest way, and this probably answers the other question too, just to know if a girl is nice to you or she's actually into you, make a move.
Yeah.
Easiest way to tell, because if she's really into you, she's going to want to. But if she's being nice, there's going to be excuses, there's going to be delays, she's going to flake, she's never going to show up. If you just make a move and lead, if she follows you, then yeah, she's probably into you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If she's receptive to your advances, then you probably have a girl that likes you.
Yep.
But if she's not, and she's constantly, like I said, making excuses or not, like pulling away from you, maybe you're trying to touch her, or she's like awkward around, there's a lot of signs that tell you that she's not into it. So just go for it. And if it doesn't work, then you got your answer.
Yeah. Do you think it's the same for like flipped it? Like if
like if a guy's being nice?
If a guy's being nice or they're into us?
Yeah, it is interesting, because you'll either have the super nice guy who's maybe he's shy and he can't or doesn't know how to tell the girl, or you have a guy who's like just super, super direct.
Yeah.
And you'll know immediately, which I think is the better route, to be honest.
I agree.
So, yeah, if it's flipped, I mean, that is kind of, you'll just know, because a guy will literally make it known. Hey, I want to take you out, or hey, I want to grab a drink with you, grab food, or whatever. I think it's very like, I think it's usually very obvious. If guys, like, even if he's nervous or maybe he's awkward about it, if he has balls, he'll still do it, even if it comes out weird.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that you'll generally just know.
Okay.
I think he's gotta make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it's obvious, like just from experiencing like people coming up to me at the gym and talking and stuff. But sometimes like you really don't know though. Like they could just be friendly and
Yeah.
they're just very extroverted and they like to talk to people and like they're always so I honestly sometimes I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just really, really friendly and like extroverted and outgoing, or are you into me? I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes they could be.
Yeah.
Because I have some friends that are very, very social, and they seem like they're best friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's who they are.
Yep.
So you have to just pay attention to small things. Like even if it's that kind of person that you're talking to, again, it kind of comes down to like when you make the initiative, are they biting the bait or are they just letting it hang?
Yeah, true.
So even with someone who's like more social or more kind of more friendly like that, if you make the move, they're either gonna be into it or they're not gonna be into it. So you can kind of tell just through their actions.
I agree. I definitely agree. Throw up subtitle hints. See if they pick up.
Yeah.
Run with it.
Yeah, I'd say just if you want to know if somebody likes you, literally just go for it, and you get your answer. It's very easy.
It's simple. Easier said than done, obviously. I know
For sure.
It's nerve-wracking and awkward sometimes, but listen, those who go after what they want in life usually win, so.
Yeah, they usually get it.
Yeah.
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. I think we can probably wrap after this one.
Yeah.
How do we stop hookup culture? What's the solution?
Oh my god, I don't think we can. It's too
too
outside
late.
of us and our followings, but
not us specifically, just like
just in general.
In general.
It comes down to the individual. Like we all just have to be better individually and like practice discipline and like push our friends and the people we're around to like just be better and not normalize it, because now again like it's so normalized that it's like the popular thing to do, and obviously people are going to want to do what's popular and what's trending, because
For sure.
I do think unfortunately in our generation social media gets the best of everything, and if it's trending and it's popular, like there's a chance you could go viral and become famous or TikTok influencer vibes. It's challenging. Like it's just so normalized in our society. It's almost like people who don't do that stuff are like weird. And I don't know. I really don't know how we stop it. I think we just talking about it.
Yeah.
In general, getting it out there. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's a tough one because like there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
I think in general, as long as you shed light on something and address it as a problem, I think that's the first step.
Yeah.
So if we just accept, oh, it's normal, whatever, like it's never going to go away.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you actually call it out and say, well, this is actually wrong.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be doing this. And you actually address it as a problem, I think people will be like, well, maybe we shouldn't be doing that as much as we do.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably step one, is just awareness and like identifying it, calling it out. And just number two, living by a different standard. Like if you want to stop it, stop buying into it.
Yeah.
Like get off of OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Stop watching porn.
Yeah.
Stop going to bars and like hooking up with the first person you meet.
Yeah.
I mean,
stop hanging around people who do those things, because that you're going to do what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Stop hanging out with the people that do those things. It's so key. Or like if you are in a group of friends who are doing that, like somebody step up and be the big person and like say, hey, what we're doing is like it's stupid, and like what are we benefiting from it, and like help create growth within your group. And if not, then cut them off. Stop hanging around them.
There you go.
I don't know. It's easier said than done, obviously, but I think you have good points too. Creating awareness, I think, is huge. Like I don't think people think it's a problem.
No.
They think it's just like,
I don't think anybody outside of like
this is
content
so fun. Yeah.
They don't even know it's like a thing.
No.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just say it's fun, not funny, but like just some work friends and people who are older and they're married with kids now and stuff. They're like, I would never want to date in your generation. They're like, thank God I found like my one.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it's rough out here.
Yeah.
It is rough out here.
It definitely is. I think social media definitely makes it worse, like
It
you were
does.
saying, because it kind of promotes like, well, this is fun, this is accepted, this gets me attention.
Yep.
And that's what generally most young people want, is just that attention,
I
that
agree.
validation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be popular with young people because that's most of the people that watch social media
Yeah.
are younger people.
Right.
So it's hard to say exactly how to stop it, but I'd say it takes, honestly, content like this where we're talking about like genuine things that are actually going to help your life improve.
Yeah.
Just like consume more of that.
Yeah.
And consume less of the bullshit or
Yeah.
the degenerate trash
Yeah.
that exists.
Agreed.
And don't accept that as a normalcy. Like, well, that's not me. This is me.
Yeah.
And if you have enough leaders, I think, that step up and do that.
Yeah.
Especially, like, I'll speak for men. I'll always think men are the answer and the problem that happen in society. So if you don't like something, like if you're a guy, like live your life according to how you want and fix it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it. Like if you have enough men that actually, again, think about OnlyFans, for example.
You
That
guys are making so
economy,
many girls rich.
literally.
And it pisses me off.
Literally, the economy is run by dudes throwing money at these chicks.
Yes.
So if the guys just stop paying them,
Stop promoting bad behavior.
there wouldn't be a freaking industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stop rewarding bad behavior and
Exactly.
being like, well, that's blah blah blah, you're addicted to it, and then you give them money, but then you shame them for the same thing you're paying for.
That's what it makes no sense to me too. It's like
It's crazy.
these guys are saying like, oh, like I wouldn't want to date or marry a girl with OnlyFans, but those are the same guys that pay for girls' OnlyFans
Yeah.
subscriptions and
Exactly.
like reward bad behavior. So like it almost
Yep.
doesn't make any sense.
Yep. It's honestly delusion.
Yeah,
That's
it
what it
is.
is.
It's so strange.
Yeah. But that's, yeah, I think it's a combination of a few different things, mainly the awareness, but yeah, just lead by example. That's the biggest thing I can say.
Yes.
If you don't like something, then live differently and be like, well, this is how I want to live.
Yeah, and like show people too that you can live this life differently and
Yeah.
it can be just as great, if not even way better.
Yep.
So, yeah,
I agree.
those are some good questions. So,
Yeah, they were good. We pretty much got through all of them.
yeah, that's good.
There's like 2 extra ones, but they're like
Yeah.
kind of dirty. But
Oh, okay, we should skip those.
we can skip those. That's another one we can get into.
Yeah, we can always do a part 2.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's pretty much all we got, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment your thoughts. Comment your questions down below. If you want to see this again, if this is something that you like and you want to see more in-person podcasts, again, this is the first one we did, first one I did, so it's going to have some hiccups.
Yep.
It's not going to be perfect, but we made it happen. If you want
Yeah.
to follow Brandi, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, Instagram, fit by 2_ Brandi is where you can find me on Instagram.
Solid. And I'll leave all the links down below if you guys want to check out her page. You know where my stuff is. And that's it, guys. We're going to get going and wrap up the podcast. If you enjoyed it, let us know. Peace.